We're going to have presenters, and we're going to start with the first presentation on the extraction of numerical facts from German text to enrich internal audit text.
Thanks. Gerd, it's the stage is yours. Yes. For all of us, going to be 10 minutes, so we have discussion.
That won't work. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Hello everyone, my name is Gerhard Schumann. I'm a PhD student and also a research assistant at the University of Oldenburg. And I'm happy to present to you today an overview of our paper, Extraction of Numerical Facts from German Text to Enrich Internal Audit Data. And as you can already see from our title, our paper addresses internal auditing. So let's start with the definition of this term. Internal auditing provides independent and objective auditing and consulting services for a company with the aim of identifying risks, minimizing them, and improving business processes. An exemplary task would then be to conduct target and actual comparisons in order to identify deviations and pass on improvement actions to the concerned departments. Now, during the auditing activities, auditors typically have to deal with a wide variety of different corporate data, which can be subdivided into two main categories. First, structured data, such as Excel tables, or in principle all relational database tables, and unstructured data, such as text, images, audio, video files, which, according to recent studies, account for about 90% of all corporate data within the company today. And an especially important type for auditors is textual data, such as reports, bills, receipt, contracts, and so on and so forth. But in principle, all textual data can be accessed by auditors if the respective audit requires this. An important difference now between structured and unstructured data is that structured data can be directly processed by traditional auditing tools, while this is not the case for unstructured data. So let's look into the details here on the side of unstructured data, especially on textual data. Textual data serves auditors either as normative requirements with which they must verify compliance with, or, and this is the more important task, they must gather information from the text, reconcile it with other data points, and identify anomalies or discrepancies. Now, because of the overwhelming amount of textual data within a company, auditors typically have to review this type of data manually and using sampling, which is on the one hand very time consuming, and on the other hand it leads to sampling risk, which means that when we have a full data population, an auditor can draw a sample, checks the sample, but that doesn't mean that there are no anomalies possible without the sample, outside of the sample. This is the sampling risk. It is a real risk, especially because the sample size is often smaller or equal to 1% of the entire data population. And one potential solution to address especially the task of gathering information from the text is open information extraction. Open information extraction is a subcategory of natural language processing which can be used to extract facts from text, which are then typically represented as relational tuples. So when we have this example sentence, Barack Obama was born in 1961 in Honolulu, these two fact triples could be extracted from the text. This is the main objective of open information extraction, that we convert the information that is hidden in the text into a more structured format, in this case with these three columns. Now, of course, open information extraction can be applied with different approaches. One approach would be to build handcrafted rules, so a rule-based approach. And for these rule-based approaches, typically part of speech tags are used. These tags define this word is a noun, this word is an adjective, this word is a verb, and so on and so forth. More important are the dependency tags because they define what is the relationship between words. So, of course, for example, this word is a predicate or a subject. A whole other approach would be to build a model. And to build a model, we don't just need one sentence, we need several sentences that are also labeled or annotated with the target class. And when we have such a training data set, we can fit it into a model to build, to train a classifier, which we can then use to apply the task of open information extraction. And there are, of course, also some hybrid approaches, which I cannot go into detail now. But most of the studies applied their approaches to English text. For German, only 3 studies developed and tested corresponding methods, which we can see here on the bottom of the page. These approaches typically build their notation scheme on the basis of the subject or the predicate. So when we have this example sentence here, which says in English in the last quarter of 2019, we have a net worth of 12.8 million euro. This would be the resulting trap effect triple, which in this case means that the subject would be we, the predicate or verb phrase would be have reached, and the object phrase would be a net worth of 12.8 million euro, which is totally fine. This is a correct extracted fact triple. But the problem arises when we want to process, especially the numerical facts within, for example, anomaly detection methods in the field of auditing. Because the numeric fact is some kind of trap within the object phrase, together with the entity to which the numerical value actually refers. In this case, the net worth. A better solution would be if we have both the numerical value, but also the entity to which the numerical value refers, both isolated in single columns. That would be a better way to process them in, for example, anomaly detection methods during an audit. Another example would be this sentence, not because it is a little bit longer, but because it has 2 numerical values in it. So we need an approach that can handle 2 numerical values, for example. So in a perfect world, we would now have one extraction where we have in the first column the entity, in this case total balance sheet, then a verb phrase increased by, and the actual numeric value, in this case 15.4 billion euro. But we also must extract a second triple in which we have, in this case, the same entity, but our approach should distinguish between the verb phrases, because in this case it is increased by, and in the case here on the bottom it is increased to. The studies that we found now in research cannot handle this. So the objective of our approach, of our paper, was to develop and evaluate an approach that is able to realize the correct extraction of entities and relations that refer to numerical values in German sentences. And to achieve this goal, we have 3 main steps. Within the first step, I want to show you how our approach works. But first, some characteristics about the approach. We use handcrafted rules, or we build handcrafted rules, and we build them with the head of dependency tags, which we saw earlier, and part of speech tags. Also, we focus on numerical values, especially in this case on currency values. Now let's have a look at an example sentence. I hope it's not too small. In English, it says, as a result of the business expansion across all operating segments, total assets increased by 15.4 billion to 256.6 billion euro at the end of 2019. So as a first step, we built noun chunks. So we concatenated single words to noun chunks. Then we extracted the part of speech tags as well as the dependency tags. And then the first step was to found the numerical value to to which we are searching for the entity. So our rule system first checks is this a valid numeric value, and second checks does it have a currency sign, and then our approach set this as the final target for which we want to find the entity. So in our approach, I have to speed up this a little bit, so sorry for that. Our approach traverses through the dependency tree based on the different rules that we build within our rule system. So when we go through the dependency tree and address all of these rules, then we found our entity. In this case, it is the total balance sheet. Can you start it over? The full screen mode, sorry. Okay, thanks. The entity is the total balance sheet, and further information is for the year end 2019, and in this case the relational phrase would be increased by. So now we have the entity, the relational phrase, as well as the numeric value to which the entity actually refers. And this was, of course, just an excerpt of our rule system. I had to speed it up a little bit. We have more than 950 if-else statements within our rule system, but of course you cannot explain this in this short time. How did we evaluate our approach? First we collected documents, in this case 15 annual reports. We then extracted sentences, which resulted in 43,000 roundabout sentences. Then we selected all sentences that contained numerical values and a currency sign, in this case a little bit less than 11,000 sentences. And then we removed sentences with more than 2 numeric values, but also cross-sentence pronouns, because these pronouns refer to previous sentences. So in that case, there was no valid information in it that could be processed within, for example, an anomaly detection method. This resulted in 4,637 sentences. And then finally, we annotated all of these sentences with our 3 target classes, which in this case resulted in 4,767 annotations, which means that we had 130 sentences which included 2 numerical values. We have also some examples here shown on the left. These are German sentences for which we then annotated it with our 3 columns, so entity, relation, and value. Here's also an example that we translated. So for the sentence, gross wages and salaries subject to supplementary pension contributions amounted to 90 million euro in the reporting year. We labeled the entity as gross wages and salaries subject to supplementary pension contributions, the relation to amounted to, and the value to 19 billion. Then, now that we had our annotations, we took our open information extraction approach and run it through our annotated data set. And this resulted in our evaluation metrics, in which we distinguish between entities and relations that could be extracted in the first place, and in entities and relations that were extracted correct. And I skipped this a little bit because of time. I go directly to the amount of entities that could be extracted correctly. And in this case, it is 3,842, which corresponds to 80.6% of all entities. And we have 3,643 correctly extracted relations, which corresponds to 76.4% of all relations, which is also the amount of cases where both the entity and the relations could be correctly extracted. So this was our evaluation. Now the conclusion. What are our practical implications? First, our approach can favor an approximation to full population testing, but it can also reduce sampling risk and the overall cost of an audit, because auditors don't have to do this manually and they don't have to draw samples again. And finally, it can of course also be interesting for other domains where numerical values need to be extracted and processed in an automated way. Theoretical implication, we wanted to we wanted to extend existing work from the field of information extraction with an approach that is able to specialize in sense and structure of the German language, and that it can traverse even complex paths within the dependency tree to extract the entities and relations that relate to numerical values. And of course, our approach also has some limitations. In this case, first, we evaluated it on only one type of business documents, namely corporate annual reports. And second, it's still limited to numerical facts that refer to a currency. So these two limitations could or should be addressed within future work. So, thank you very much for your attention. Sorry for speeding up a little bit. And these are my sources.
Yeah. Thank you, Gerrit. Are there any questions? Comments, hints? Maybe from the online participants.
There?
There's one question.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I just need to, what was the accuracy of your developed model?
It's actually not a model, but first, thank you for your question. It's a rule-based approach. We built handcrafted rules in this case. We first thought about building a model, but the problem is, in practice, you don't have a data set that is annotated with the corresponding labels. In this case, the three target classes, entity, relation, and numerical value. So we built this handcrafted rule system. But to respond to your actual question, it has for the entities 82%. Wait, let me go to the slide. Okay, it was about 82% for the entities. So 82% of the entities could be extracted correctly, and the relation, so that connects the entity and the numeric value, that was correct in the case of 76% of all the cases. So this is some kind of the accuracy that you meant.
Thank you.
80.6 for entities and 76.4% for relations. Okay. Almost.
Satisfied? Good. Any other question?
Yeah. You spoke about hand-coded rules. What do you need for that? Do you have an own language, a rule language, or is it directly coded in some program language?
So we implemented it all in Python.
Mm-hmm.
We used pre-trained language models, in this case from Spacey, but they are also built on transformer-based models like BERT in this case. This is a massive pre-trained language model which delivers us the dependency tree tags as well as the part of speech tags of a sentence that we give to this language model. And when we had these tags, then we built the rule system, and this, it contains many if-else statements in this case. Mm-hmm. And of course, now we are at the point where we have a big annotated data set where we know, okay, this is correct. In this case, 8% for the entities and 76% for the relations. And now the next step could be to train a model.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Gerrit, for that very nice presentation.
Thanks as well.
So my interest is, I would like to understand if you can share with us some of the challenges which you have faced in order to help others who will be interested to conduct similar study on the other perspective of different texts. Yeah.
Okay. Like in most data science projects, the annotation process is time-consuming and annoying, actually. But also the building of the rule system was also challenging in some cases because you build a rule and you test it with a sentence and everything works fine, and then you test it with another 3 sentences and only half of it works. So you have to adjust some of the rules, and so it's like an iterative process. And that was also time consuming.
Okay. Thanks, Nemo, also for the question. Thanks, Gerrit. I think we have to move now to the second presentation. Thank you. Let's get into that. Nemo, can you take over?
Okay, thank you very much, Professor. So the next presenter, we are going to listen to the presentation of the machine learning and deep learning applications in the context of pig precision, livestock farming, a systematic literature review.
Is online, so Herr Hendrik, kannst du uns hören?
Yes, I can hear you. I hope you can hear me as well.
Yes, we can. Perfect.
Let me just
You can
start
just-
the camera.
Yes, perfect.
Oh. Okay. Do you see the slides, or what do you see?
We can see the slides, the main slide, but also the other on the left hand side, the complete. Yes, perfect.
Okay, yeah, now I'm in presentation mode. Okay, yeah, thank you for the introduction and thank you for the nice presentation of my previous speaker, Gerrit. Was very nice. I hope this can match the same level in this presentation here, but I will do my best. Okay, I will, as already said, I will present the paper and the results of our research machine and deep learning application in the context of pig precision livestock farming, systematic literature review. We worked with a big team on this research paper, me, our ex-colleague Johan Gerarding, Sven Lampe, and of course Professor Max Donnes. And before I start, I would like to say some things about me. I made my bachelor in business informatics way back in 2017 in Duisburg-Essen, then moved to Oldenburg, made my master's there, and then started right after my master's thesis as a researcher at the VWA. Currently I'm working inside the Diegelstein project, where this whole research project started, the whole literature review and so on. And my current research interests are deep learning, computer vision, and everything artificial intelligence related stuff. Okay. Now I will talk a bit about the motivation on how, on why we actually did this literature review. Especially in Germany, we have two different structural and social change that is currently ongoing and is also ongoing for quite a few years now. There's a continuous trend of declining numbers of farms which do pig livestock farming. On the other hand, at the same time, we have a constant increase of the number of pigs held per farm, and we have a slaughter price which is highly volatile and has been highly volatile for years, which makes economically profitable livestock farming for the farmer very difficult. And this volatile slaughter prices also increase the procedure of steadily declining numbers of farms, because the middle big farms can actually compete with the prices of the big farms, and they just get bought up, and so the number of pigs per farm steadily increases as well. On the other hand, we have social change, which is described in the continuously higher demand for better animal welfare, which is a bit in contrast to the steadily increasing numbers of pigs per farm. And we have also the factor that people and society alike are demanding more sustainability in pig livestock farming, which is also in contrast to the current development in the structural changing process. And now is the question, okay, how can we actually deal with these challenges and problems, and how can we help the farmer to do better in animal welfare and in these different economically positions. And in the literature, there's one term which you see over and over. It's precision livestock farming, or pig precision livestock farming, because precision livestock farming can be everything from poultry to cows, but also pigs. And I will just call it now pig precision livestock farming to have the focus on the domain. And pig precision livestock farming is nothing else than the usage of cameras and sensor hardware to eventually develop monitoring systems that can monitor the health status of the pigs under consideration, the activity, and also the welfare. And these developments in these systems is an ongoing process. There are currently no really fully packaged solutions for these problems or these monitoring systems. And most of the time in the literature, the researchers are investigating different use cases from this domain based on computer vision, deep learning, and artificial intelligence, just because these methods are currently state-of-the-art in this domain. And when we started the DB1 project and also the research I'm currently working on in my thesis, we wanted to know, okay, what deep learning methods, machine learning methods are actually used in precision. Which brings me to the next slide. I already we wanted to know in which research field is machine learning and deep learning actually applied in precision livestock farming, and what are the current limitations and challenges or shortcomings which currently exist. A little disclaimer here, because such a literature review is always difficult to present in a context like this presentation. We actually reduced the content of this presentation. In our paper, we actually have an additional research question which involves like what models were used and which metrics were used to evaluate the models and what data sets, for example. And we generated like huge tables which I won't show in this presentation because it wouldn't make much sense. I will refer to the paper then when I'm talking about this stuff. Okay. These are the research questions, and now I want to present how we actually approached this stuff to find all this literature and to systematically extract information from it. We used a systematic literature review. Actually, we adapted this process a bit. We found another paper who presented the systematic literature review, especially for information system and data science, which we adapted. And this literature review consists of 8 steps: identify purpose, protocol, then screen the literature, the actual literature search, data extraction, quality check, synthesize of studies, and actually then writing the review. And I have a step-by-step guide on how we did it in our paper. We first defined a search string for the literature database. We use ScienceDirect for literature database, which is this database gives access like 70 million articles, 2,500 journals, and also contains highly relevant conferences on journals like sensors, biosystems engineering, computer and electronics, and agriculture, and so on. And the search string consists of following terms: deep learning, machine vision, computer vision, and neural network, just to contain all this deep learning stuff, and also the all synonyms for the word pig, like swine, hog, or also piglet or sow, just to cover the whole area of pig precision livestock farming. we excluded the word histogram of oriented gradients because it's Abkürzung, I'm missing the word there. It's when you make it short, it's also written as hoc, and then we got in the literature search many wrong papers which we didn't want to have, so we excluded it with this term. Then based on the search string, and we found 834 papers, which we then screened with 3 different people. We had previously defined selection criteria on how we will filter all these papers. First of all, we checked, okay, is this actually the right context? Did they use ML or DL, or machine learning and deep learning methods, or did they do something that is maybe important for our research? Then we included it as well. We filtered based on findings. If they just presented theoretical concepts or something else, we filtered them also. The papers also out because we couldn't actually use them. We wanted hard facts and evaluations. We filtered based on the type of publication, whether it a book chapter or a presentation or an interview, then we filtered it out. And many papers were also in Chinese, which we couldn't read, so we filtered them out as well. German papers we did include, which is missing in the criteria selection you're seeing. Based on the selection criteria, we had 112 papers, of which 59 papers actually applied machine learning and deep learning methods, which were interesting for us. With this information in front of us, we conducted deductive and inductive category development, and which brings me to the results in the next slide. Maybe 1 or 2 words to deductive and inductive category development. In deductive category development, you actually have defined some categories which you then use to extract information from the papers, while in inductive category development, you have a broad sense of what you're looking for. You look in the papers, extract information, and then have an iterative process to define ever-going precise categories. And the deductive part is more related to the tables and the research question of what methods were used and which performance they achieved, which is contained in the tables, which are not in the presentation here, but in the paper. And the inductive part is presented in more detail in here in this big table, which summarizes the whole process of inductive category development and actually gives an overview of what research fields, deep learning and machine learning was applied in the context of precision lifestyle farming. On the left, you can see the root, I say, applications or use cases, and from there you can find the 3 main categories we defined. Detection use cases, investigated pure detection stuff like counting, segmentation tasks, motion tracking, and had no real use case in mind. They just wanted to check if these methods they used are actually working in the precision livestock farming domain. Maybe some information before to the numbers. The first number means that we found of the 112 papers, 19 papers were in the detection category, but only 14 of them actually used machine learning and deep learning. And this little number is behind every category we define, just so you can see, okay, one of the paper, for example, we find investigate peak identification, also used machine learning and deep learning for this stuff. Yeah, every main category has different subcategories, which is also the process of inductive category development. But yeah, let me describe the other categories as well a bit. So the biggest category of all was the category animal, which contains like behavior stuff, head-related stuff, and body condition stuff. The biggest there was weight estimation, which is actually a big use case in the PLF domain, and also very interesting for the DSHRM project. But yeah, the most investigated topic was actually behavior, where the part of aggression, aggressive behavior, like yeah, the biggest problem actually in this domain, taillighting, or yeah, medium aggression like chasing, stuff like this, but also body posture, which is also a big part for activity recognition inside the pen. Yeah, I don't know if I'm on time or already. Yeah.
I can't give you just 1 minute more because we do have 4 further presentations. Sorry for that. I hope you can.
I will speed up a bit. I have 1 slide left. It's okay. So yeah, now big skip to big results of our review, because yeah, it's always difficult to present these big literature stuff. But the main results we found based on our literature research was, okay, there's actually a lack of comparability because every paper had trained their models on different data sets, used different evaluation methods, and we found that there is a need for research initiatives that actually build benchmark data sets in the PLF domain, so the research is more comparable and can actually be benchmarked, and not everyone just shoots out their evaluations and you can't really say if they're actually good or not. That's also left behind the state of the art. The models used in the reported literature were always 2 years behind, but this is not actually yeah, a problem because it's quite normal. And but the biggest problem we found is was lack of tools and transferability, because in the PLF domain, partners have limited monetary opportunities, or yeah, have limited access to monetary stuff, so the hardware on which to deploy these monetary systems needs to be efficient and cost efficient. So these models need to be deployable on low-cost hardware, which is mostly not the case for the papers we found in literature. They use the biggest models of them all, where you need big GPUs to actually run them in real time, but the focus needs to be more on low-cost hardware, so the models can be deployed on edge devices. Yeah, that's basically it. Here are my sources. I hope I'm in time, and thank you for your attention, and I'm open for questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the very nice and well-informed presentation. Is there any question for the presenter?
Maybe also from the online participants? Use the chat room or... Okay. Then, this is not the case, then Gerrit, thank you very much. I can assure you that the presentation was similar to the level of Gerrit, so you can be... Good, thank you so much. Bye-bye, thank you. Nemo?
Okay, thank you so much. So the next presentation is on CNN with attention-guided concatenation for improved image restoration.
Gladys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi Gladys, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Professor.
Yeah, then you can start directly if you want with your presentation. So if you don't see the slides yet, so maybe you can put them, share the slides. No? Gladys, you can't see them yet? The connection seems to be very bad. We can't barely hear you.
I'm really sorry. I have a blackout, so I'm using bandwidth from the internet provider, which is normally not very good. So I hope you can be able to sit down.
No, we can't see the slides, unfortunately.
Okay, let me share. You can be able to see them now?
1 second, yes. Now we can see them.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Go ahead
Yes.
put
My name is Gladys Mange. I'm a PhD in IST student from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, Nairobi, Kenya. I'm a tutorial fellow at the KCA University, Nairobi. My area of research is image processing with special attention to image restoration. So I'll go ahead and do my presentation. It's on CNN, convolutional neural networks with attention-guided concatenation for improved image restoration. So a convolutional neural network is a method of deep learning, and it has been used in image processing, mainly for image segmentation, image classification, and of course image restoration. And among the image restoration processes that are done as far as the convolutional neural networks are concerned is image retracing, image deep learning, which are a form of image restoration. So what happens is that you have the processing model, and then you supply the input image, and then it performs the denoising to be able to get the output image. So the deprivation model for image restoration can be mathematically modeled as y is equal to hx plus e, whereby y is the original image and h is the deprivation matrix, and then we have e, which is the noise, the additive noise. Many of the researchers have done the image restoration in very different ways, and with the CNNs, the architectures can be changed, either maybe scaling them or scaling them down. Others have been able adopt concatenation as a mechanism to combine those pictures, which is not an optimal method. Because now when we do the concatenation, the features imply that the redundancy that occurs, and of course now the errors are propagated in the model, and therefore the model does not work as desired. This research seeks to develop an optimized CNN, which will combine two networks to increase the width of the network, and therefore enhance the network, as well as introduce two attention models at literature review, there are very many ways of improving to have a large receptive field. Researchers who've done this, so a receptive field is the amount of information that a neural network can be able to capture. So the larger the receptive field, the better the model performs. So we have Tiny et al. Who came up with the mainnet, but the mainnet was not able to make full use of the features because of the memory block. So we also have the unit which extracts detailed information about the corrupted image, but the network needs major modification to maintain proper integrity. So these are some of the literature reviews that I was able to get to represent in this, but I have in the main papers I have due to time I will not be able to discuss some of them. We also have feature fusion, whereby now the features from the different channels of the different layers can be fused so that the model can be able to learn from long-range features as well as the local features. So these methods, they have several shortcomings. So they have two shortcomings. They don't make full use of the enlarged receptor field, and they do not also account for the selection of features that are important to the denoising process. So if research seeks to use two CNNs so that the model can be able to capture more features because of the increased width, and also use the attention model so that only the important features can be brought into the model. So the proposed model has an attention model at the end of the CNN. As you can see, we have the CNN, the first CNN and the second CNN, and we have an attention model at the end. So this is the CNN one, and it is composed of the convolutional layer, the batch normalization, and so the convolution layer is able to extract the features. The batch normalization takes care of the gradient descent. So the image, we have the input to the image. I got this from the main model, so that for explanation. So the image goes through these layers, and then at the end of it, the features that are recorded, they are first brought into the attention model so that it can be able to capture the features that impact on the model. And also we have the second convolutional neural network that also does the same. But in this case, we have introduced the dilated convolution so that it can be able to increase the receptive field. But all the same, even with the increased receptive field, you find that it has a downside, whereby the deepening of the network layer needs to lose of local information. And therefore, now the attention mechanism is the solution to this problem due to its ability to compute correlation. So we used the water-fluid exploration dataset, which has 3,821 images to train the model. And then we have used now to test the model. The CBSD has 68 images, and the product dataset has 24 images. And then the models in 35, 50, and 75, which is the Gaussian ways that we added to the images. And then the environment, they were trained on paper space gradient virtual machines with a quadro P4001, 8 CPUs, and 30 GB RAM. we trained from scratch the model, the CNN that has attention and the CNN with no attention. The CNO-ATT is the CNN without attention, and the CWATT is the CNN with attention. And the two models were tested with the CDS-368 and the Kodak datasets on these sigma values 15, 25, 35, 50, and so you can go to see that the CNN with no attention was not able to do as good as the CNN with attention as far as the fixed signal to noise ratio is concerned. From the values, you can go to see the different values on both data sets, the CDS-68 and the Kodak dataset. And then the best fit signal to noise ratio and structural similarity index measured for signal 75. You can go to see that the CNN without attention was not able to do as well as the CNN that has attention on both data sets. And then we performed experiments also for signal 50 and compared with the state-of-art models, the NCNN and FF.net, and the CNN with attention was able to perform better than the state-of-art models as far as the structural similarity index ratio is concerned, but was probably performing well compared to them, but it was not able to get to overperform on the peak signal to noise ratio. So as I come to a conclusion is that the two CNN models were trained from scratch, and the one that has attention was able to perform better than the one that does not have attention. And this was proof enough that concatenating the features before being able to do the attention, to bring in the attention before concatenating the features, now improves the model. So we were able to get the results as the performance, the 7.44%, 3.32% for peak signal to noise ratio for Kodak 24 datasets, and the 19.38 and 19.46% for SSIM values. So I have a few references. Thank you very much. I invite now questions and answers. I invite questions. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Gladys, for the very nice presentation. Is there any question for Gladys?
Yes. Thank you very much. Can you just refer to the attention?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, Gladys, then thank you very much. I think we will proceed because of the time. Thank you so much. You can't hear me, right? Gladys? Can someone write in the chat that you can't hear us, but thanks for the presentation, and yeah, and I'm very much looking forward to see her again, maybe in Germany, as she has been before with you. Okay. Then, Nima, would you like to take over for the next presentation? So you write in the chat, colleagues? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor. So the next presentation is on the evidence-based practices on cooperative societies' information record management.
George? Good, great. Yeah. George, you can start to introduce yourself, maybe so we use the time.
Good afternoon, friends. Okay, good afternoon, friends. My name is George Germinus, master student at NM-AIST. Actually, I'm taking my master's in information communication sciences and engineering, and today I'm going to present a paper. It is an evidence-based paper that based on the practices on cooperative societies information-based record management. I'm with Dr. Dida Musa. The presentation is divided into seven parts, but I'll go very first. And to start with, it is divided into 7 parts, whereby I'll have an introduction part, problem statement, a review of related works, methodology, and I'll have the results and discussion part, and I'll finish with the conclusion, as well as opening chance for future works, future researchers' works.
George, maybe I interrupt you, sorry for that. Colleagues, can you make sure that the slides are on the screen? 1 second, George. Sorry for you. Okay, George, continue. Just talking.
Should I continue?
Yes, we're running out of time.
All right. Now, actually, it's a new theme when it comes to the institution, but ideally, to start with, I'd like to say something about cooperatives. Cooperatives, ideally, it's a group of people who come together, join their works, their energy, their resources, whether financial, whatever, in order to voluntarily meet and have a common economic, social, and other problems to solve them collectively. Basically, they provide a driving force in the socio-economic of the country. And cooperative societies grouped into several groups. We have so many groups of cooperative societies, but basically we have two categories. One is financial cooperative societies, and the other one agricultural marketing cooperative societies, which we normally call them as AMCOs. Under those two categories, we have so many of them. Agriculture, we have those which we deal with expertise, those which deals with fishing and things like that. In the global context, cooperative societies are arranged or grouped hierarchically from the top to the bottom. And from the top, we normally have an apex, then down we have unions. These unions gather several primary cooperative societies at the base. And but the structure depends with the country's rules and bylaws. Like in Kenya, they have unions, but in Tanzania, it is still a discussion whether to have an apex, because every level there is a financial implication. So we are discussing if we need to have an apex or not, or we can just have unions and it is over. A primary cooperative society, my place to discuss is on cooperative societies, primarily, basically. A cooperative society can be formed depending on
George,
yes?
Excuse me, the slides are there. Maybe you can refer to the slide you're talking to.
Okay. These are the areas that I'll cover. Now, that is the introduction part where I have just defined a cooperative society to be a group of people. A group of people that are coming together in order to attain their socio-economic problems with a common goal. Now, I went to a global context, on a global context, and told you the structure of cooperatives has been divided in three structures, where we have an apex, then we'll have unions, and at the bottom we have several primary cooperative societies. A single cooperative society can either comprise of 50, 20, or 10 people. Now, it depends with the common goal of such a cooperative society. For example, those which are dealing with cooperative, agricultural marketing or agricultural products, they must start with 50 people to form a cooperative societies. And for those financial cooperative societies like the savings and the credit cooperative societies, the circle, they need only 20 people, and the rest, which are mostly, they base on expertise like ICT, maybe accountants, they can have their cooperative society. It's only 10, you form your only cooperative society. If the number is not enough to form a cooperative society, the government can give you Tanzania, by the bylaws of Tanzania, you can have a pre-registered cooperative society. Now, okay, in Tanzania, way back, 75 years back, where we had the first cooperative society in Kilimanjaro, we had a lot of successes and failures. For those who are my age mate, we can refer to the history, but those who are elder, at least you have an idea of the Arusha Declaration and the Ujamaa formation villages. You know the downs of the cooperative societies. Now, coming into Tanzania, cooperative societies have greatly played part in the poverty reduction in Tanzania, and Tanzania government has really set aside some strategies, several strategies to combat poverty. The Mkukuta, they all incorporate cooperatives. Now, to form a cooperative society needs some of the procedural undertakings. You will need to form a group, then that group will need to formulate some documents. These documents will be taken to the district cooperative office, those we refer them as DCOs, and the DCOs will take the documents ahead to the RCOs, the Regional Cooperative Office, and the Regional Cooperative Office in turn will submit the documents for approval at the national level, the Registrar's Office. Now, if you can realize this process amounts to many documentations, and these documents mostly are manual. They are done manual using papers, pens, and some of the normal ways we use to store, like the hard drives, flash drives, and things like that. Now, where the problem is now, despite the fact that cooperative societies, they help in the eradication of poverty, but we have been facing a lot of problems when it comes to data keeping and management. Record keeping and managing those cooperatives. It is done manually, thus bringing up a lot of documentations. Now, this is a problem because we incur some of the issues like data redundancy, inaccuracy whenever we acquire the cooperative records, loss of data, and because they are bulky, you see. Now, once these data are gathered, they don't have a centralized place to be kept or to be accessed by those who may need them. Now, this has been a problem, and that's why, now the collection and the flow of the data has created problems to those who need it, to those who deal with those data, and to the custodians at any level of the process. Now, this study has come out, that's why this study has come out. This diagram shows how, what I've just explained from where we start registering the cooperative society to the, you see the group of people, that is the public. Whenever they need those data, they have to either physically go to respective offices. I told you that they are not centrally stored. So they have to go to those places. Or otherwise, you make backdoor arrangements. Now, the next part, that's why we came up with this study to alleviate the issue of redundancy, see what can be done exactly to remove those challenges that have been said. Now, the following, we did some review on related works, but there were some few because we really lack. It is an industry that has not been explored so much in the country, and basically most of them have shown the need. Like here we can see somebody called Gratian Rekaza and Bikolimana Muhihi, they concur with the stat that processing of information, cooperative information, may improve. It improves when we use the information system. It improves the process, improves the accuracy, removes the redundancy of data that we normally acquire. declared to be using mobile equipments, the laptops, the smartphones. That shows the need of having such a thing, such a system, and the extent to the challenges.
Hint. Please use also the chat function. There's obviously one. Oh. Okay. This is obviously not the case. Good. Thank you so much, George. Well done.
Asante.
Okay. So the next presentation is on developing proof of concepts for sustainable smart solutions with a Google Design Print and Lego Serials Play.
Marius?
Hi.
Alles klar. Marius, du hörst uns, wir können dich schon hören, wir sehen auch deine Folien. Sorry, we see your slides and we can hear you perfectly. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, let's start with my presentation. A bit different topic. It's about developing proof of concepts with students, and I present here 4 years of experience with our practical course with computer science students. And my name is Marius Wiepens. I'm from Oldenburg, and my interests are new work methods, creativity and innovation, management methods, and water management. And I'm a PhD and work in a project with our local water supplier. Besides my project work, I'm really interested in innovation methods and how can we teach them to students. And that was a question we asked us, how can we teach innovative methods, because there were, at the university, I found there were no real space for new innovation methods, besides the fundamental computer science skills, and to develop our practical project, business informatics. We searched for a framework for our practical course and asked questions: how can we teach innovative methods? And how do we ensure that all phases of the typically hardware or software development are tested by the students? So we use basic principes. All students should learn the methods through playful learning. We don't like frontal learning, we want to teach them the methods with playful learning. A really important part is teamwork. We want to address the teamwork in a small group, and we want to build proof of concepts. And normally, if you start to develop a prototype or a proof of concept in computer science, you need at least 3, 4, 5 weeks to have a first result. But we hadn't this time, so we searched for a method that provides a prototype in 1 week. And we found a method and built our course on the basis. So in the first week, we teach innovative methods. We have practical showcases with locals like the water supplier or software development firms. We find ways to work and use a method which is called Google Design Sprint. And in the second week, the students have to apply this new methods on their own. So they go through this Google Design Sprint. This is a Google Design Sprint. The scheme of it, it's a framework, and it starts on Monday with the mapping, to ask the expert what is the goal of the problem. On Tuesday, there are sketches. You find many solutions for your problem. On Wednesday, you decide for a solution. On Thursday, you prototype the solution. And on Friday, you test the solution and present it. And we adapt this process for our students. And on Monday, we test and teach them methods like the Lego Serials Play. You can see in the picture, the students are playing with Lego and build
structure have a meaning. And so the students can visually define their problem statements. Besides this method, there are other methods like story cubing or story mapping, SRPCs, so storyboarding, and methods like how write we and rows. So, but I can't explain every method in detail in our paper. They are addressed. On Tuesday, you sketch, like storyboarding. I like SRPCs for storyboarding. On Wednesday, we have two or three sketches, and you have to decide which sketch is the best. So you do a dot vote, like here in this picture, or you build a decision matrix, or you rumble it all. You rumble it, or you do all in one, so you merge it together. On Thursday, the prototype, so you can use storyboards again, or a tool called SAP Build, where you can build a software prototype in less than 1 hour. You use paper prototyping or hardware prototyping, and here in the pictures are some results from our students who use hardware to build this prototype, or in this picture, this is the SAP Build work from the student group. On Fridays, there are tests and a presentation. You can use the methods concurrent think aloud for testing, or cognitive walkthrough, that works really good. And to present it, you can use methods like Pecha-Kucha, or you use the paper prototype or hardware prototype. Like in this case, we presented it with the hardware prototype. Right, I have some more minutes. My conclusion. Our framework, our method to teach is good for developing software and hardware proof of concept. We tested it in 2 years with process or concept questions. So the students should build processes or concepts that's unsuitable. So if you want to teach how to develop proof of concepts, you should use a question that can be answered with software or hardware prototypes. It's important that the students move into the center and the teacher and teach each other new methods, so that the teacher moves into the background and acts like a moderator for heavy questions, or brings the timetable into the discussion. It's high effort in preparation, but low effort in doing the practical course. So in the first week you have to sit there, and the students can teach each other, and in the second week they work in small groups, and you are there for questions. And in 2023 we want to test a new set of tools, what we include in our course. It's called Liberating Structures. It's a library, it's a tool library for us, and we test it, and let's see if it fits to our course. Yes, that was my presentation in literature, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Marius, for the very nice presentation. And now we are very aware of Google Design Sprint and Legal Serious Sprint. So is there any question for Marius?
Yes, I have one. it's more than it's a problem statement. So it's every I don't know what every part here in this picture means, but every part means a part of the problem.
Okay, so it can be an organizational issue, basically, that is so.
Or a software problem, or a process problem, what can be solved by software.
But theoretically, just a question, and it's maybe obviously out of the scope of your work, but could it also be used to develop an methodology?
Good question. I think if you, yes, I think it's possible if you define every part of your ontology with the label. It could be. I think it's possible.
Yeah, just for future workshops, just an idea which popped up in my mind. Thanks a lot for your presentation.
Okay, then I would have a question, Marius, regarding the evaluation, or how did the students react to this approach, and did we do an evaluation on it? Let's say a semester evaluation. Do we have any reactions? It's covered so far.
We evaluate it not structured. We ask them if it's if they like it, if they want other methods, if they want other structure, but we don't have a structured evaluation of this course. But it's a good idea.
Good. Just a hint, Marius, the business is written just with 3 S, not with 4 S, since it appears mainly in all slides. You should correct it, but this is just a comment. Very nice presentation. Thank you very much, Marius. Okay.
Okay, so we are moving to the last presenter, who is Bettina. She's going to present on data requirements for the analysis of a company's car fleet. Welcome, Bettina.
Yes, hello. Sharing is good now, I hope. And yes, so I'm Bettina Steger, I'm also from Oldenburg, working at the Department of Economics Commerce, and I'm going to present data requirements for the analysis of a company's car fleet. And this work is embedded into the project Icta where I'm currently working in. So I'm going to give a short introduction to the project about our goals and what we want to do before I'm talking about the problem description and the results of my research. So Icta, the project stands for Energy Supply Concepts for Carbon Neutral Logistics Centers. And the overall goal here is to develop economical, organizational and technical solutions to optimize the logistics centers energetic-wise. And yeah, what do we want to do to get an energetically optimized logistics centers? We want, for example, to install photovoltaic plants on the site together with some energy storage systems. Or we want to electrify the vehicle fleet that currently consists of diesel fuel vehicles. And the third thing is electric preconditioning of vehicles. Vehicles that are used for temperature-controlled transport have to be preconditioned beforehand, and they're currently preconditioned with diesel as well, and we want to change that to electric preconditioning. But in this presentation, I'm going to focus on the electrification of the vehicle fleet. So what to do when to analyze the vehicle fleet according to the possibility to switch to electric vehicles. We have to analyze the fleet with regard to different indicators. For example, indicators from the ecological side, the economical side, the technical side, or the operational side. And in this presentation, I'm not going to talk about that aspect, but I'm going to focus on the operational indicators. So I'm going to talk about what has to be analyzed and what data data is required to be able to analyze the situation. So, what problems arise on an operational level? We've got a limited range of electric vehicles. The cars have a range of about 100 to 600 kilometers nowadays, but this is very dependent on the driving behavior of the driver, or for example, it's also dependent on the season. For example, in European winters, due to heating, the range can be diminished by up to 40%, which has to be taken into consideration in planning. And another thing is that an electric vehicle has a longer charging time compared to refueling, for example, a gasoline vehicle. So the charging times might diminish the availability of the vehicle, and we have got to look at the utilization level. And the third thing is, when vehicles have to be charged, they need charging opportunities. And in our NM-AIST project, we want to build up a charging infrastructure on site. So we do have to consider the rising energy demand by the cars. So overall, we've got we identified 3 indicators that are important on operational from an operational viewpoint: the range, the utilization level, and the energy demand. And what data do we need to be able to analyze the situation? For the range, we need to consider the length of the trips to be able to decide if a car can, if a trip can be done with an electric vehicle. And we've got 2 possibilities to do so. We could, on the one hand, look at the daily mileage of a car and then decide, okay, is the daily mileage within the range of an electric vehicle or not? This implies that we only consider one charging operation of the car per day. For example, it's charged overnight and goes for the whole day, and charged at night again. But we could also look at the distances of each individual trip, for example. And with this approach, we would need to consider charging operations in between. So we also need data on the time that we have between 2 different trips. This might lead to lower range requirements compared to only looking at the daily mileage. The utilization rate as the second indicator is defined as the minutes the car can use per day, the hours per day divided by the minutes the car can use a day. So to analyze this, we need data on the start and end times of all trips, as well as the time where the car is idle on site and available for charging. As I said, this will result in an estimation of the time where the vehicle is available for charging, or the number of trips that have to occur without a charging operation in between. And for the third indicator, the charging infrastructure, we need to estimate the daily energy demand of the car. The energy demand can be estimated roughly with knowledge about the daily mileage and the energy consumption the vehicle is going to have. And if we also have again data on the idle times on site, we can define the time frames in which charging is possible, and also the amount of charging spots we need to say, okay, we need 3 cars that need to be charged in this time frame at the same time, so we need 3 charging spots, for example, this. And this whole approach was then applied to vehicle fleet in our NM-AIST project. The vehicle fleet there consists of 10 vehicles, and we were able to gather data about the daily mileage, as well as the times when the cars are on site. And if you look closer at the daily mileage, we added a buffer of 30% of the mileage due to this insecurities about range. And we can see that our car A4 is the only car that has a range that's not in the scope of the possible range of electric vehicles. So here with the daily mileage we can see we can't replace every car. But most cars have okay mileage for between 100 or 200 kilometers, and that would be really fine for replacing them. If you look on the distance of individual trips instead, we could reduce the range requirements by 18% for most cars. So there is a possibility, if we have got enough time, that we look at the distance of individual trips instead of the daily mileage. And so we have to look at the idle times when the cars are on site, and we can see that our cars are on site most times of the day. So actually taking the distance of individual trips is the valid approach for our use case. But got to be careful with this approach we've taken. The data requirements we collected or we set up beforehand, they were sufficient for our use case because we had quite a small fleet with long idle times and regularly occurring trips. But this approach might not be suitable for every other car fleet. We are going to evaluate this approach on another car fleet soon, but we haven't yet. These are the references I used in the presentation, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Bettina, for the very nice presentation. Is there any question for Bettina?
Yeah, thank you for your great presentation, Bettina. Do you plan, or do you already do, to take into account the area, the profile of the areas, or the weather conditions and temperatures and like that, because that could change the movability of the cars a lot?
So far we didn't take that into account. The area we're looking at is quite flat, and there is a highway nearby, but we haven't taken that into consideration yet.
Okay, thank you.
Bettina, Jorge here. Can you, Bettina, just describe a little bit more on the research methodology? What are you using, and how do you want to achieve the results? With which methodology are you going to approach it?
We set up indicators beforehand, what we thought might be reasonable, and also did a literature research on what literature has done, and there as well was the results that most literature looks at the range of cars to determine if electromobility can be used. And so we set up it, and we then took the fleet in the Icta project and applied the indicators we defined to the project and analyzed the situation according to the indicators. And after that we're going to introduce actual electric vehicles into the car fleet and making the same evaluation step if our figures, if our goals have been reached. I didn't talk about it, but we also want to reduce carbon emissions, and we can evaluate that afterwards.
Thanks, Bettina. Well done.
Okay, so thank you so much, Bettina, and all other presenters and everyone who joined in this session of Artificial Intelligence, Tools and Applications. So before I hand over to Professor, I have one announcement to make from the program chair, that after this session we are going to move to the poster session outside this venue. which will take 30 minutes, and then after we'll get back in this room to finalize day 1 of Icta-Emos. So back to you, Professor, if you have anything.
As you said, Nima, so we are going to meet down for the poster sessions, right? And for the outside, and then I'd like to once again express my great appreciation for all the very nice presentations we just heard about different topics, but I think they have something in common, and this is about the sense and the need for artificial intelligence in different aspects, but I think we can't go without it anymore. And that's actually the reason why the different application fields, as we learned today, are, let's say, so important and gives us more inside views than we have heard before. With that said, so far, I would like to also express my gratitude to you all, to the audience, to the presenters which are online, to the participants online, and still wish you a nice day. I hope that we can meet on the poster session right now and saying, thanks, and meet you again very soon. Thanks. By the way, it's very important that we make really use of since they are going to award as a poster. We would appreciate if you participate, give us somehow if possible. Okay? That would be great. Thank you so much.
Ja, ist alles voll. Die ganze Runde drumherum. Ja. Die sind die Größen. Ein bisschen unfair ist. Klar, die Kleinen und so ein bisschen so. Ja, vor allem von den Studien, sind vor allem Projekte von Studierenden. Ja, wir haben es im Paper. Excuse me. Yes. Can you remind me the question to Bettina? The first question you asked. I was not able to capture the first question. Bettina.
Yes. Yeah. Last presentation.
Using the time.
Yeah, at the time you can use the cars, the range they can cover. Especially the electric cars on temperature, weather conditions, and area where they drive. So in Oldenburg it's all flat. To Kenya or something that you would have some hills in between. That's more negative. If you try, I think that's modeling. The car can go, that you should take that into account when you live there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, was it clear or just another question?
Another question was about the research methodology she had used,
Yeah,
and then
right.
the summary for what she has achieved.
Yeah.
That was posed by Professor George.
Yeah. Okay.
What were the answers from her? It was not so clear, the answers.
It was not so clear.
So were you able to capture the answers from Bettina?
From Bettina, yes.
The methodology?
The methodology, I know some other presentation of her, that's why I get that. she did not
No, the voice was not so clear. Maybe I could email her so that she can give me the answers.
I will do that.
Yeah, just do that.
I think once again, I know she had a greater presentation and slides and perhaps she should contact her. She will send it to you. Interesting things. She is a mathematician. And so
very interesting.
Yeah. You are a mathematician too?
No.
Yeah.
Just information technology.
Okay.
IT.
Yeah, she will send it to you. I think it's a better idea. And that, those slides are more clear on the find it also. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Ja, sie hatte doch irgendwie gesagt, wir haben jetzt eine halbe Stunde eingeplant, damit wir uns Poster angucken. Und dann kommen wir nochmal zusammen zum Abschluss.
Achso, komm mal zum Abschluss. So, da habe ich nicht richtig aufgepasst.
Ach, schade, das ist ja smart. Sonst kannst du nicht. Sagen wir, also Hälfte hat gesagt, wir können nicht.
Nein, dann bleiben wir noch brav hier. Das ist die gute Hotel. Okay. Fazer o Facebook.
Jesus, Jesus, come, Jesus. Nein! Headphones. Bado kidogo. Bado kidogo tu. Kuna kitu nafanya pale chini nusu saa, kija hapa tunaona sasa kuna moja nusu ndio chapati inaisha. Ndio nusu. Nusu kaenda kama unataka. Mimi sawa. Sasa subiri sasa vitu tunaenda beba. Kwa hiyo vitu vyako.
No, I can't explain anything different. I'm not in the mood of academia. I'm coordinating.
And when should Kocho do that? At the end?
Right after when we come in this room.
In the beginning? Tomorrow morning?
No.
Now?
Yes, it's actually our final session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right, that was...
And actually it's a very short one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I will ask him.
Yeah.
Nimemaliza, nimefurahi. Hata nani kwamba imefanikiwa. Yes. So kama leo umekuja umeanza kwa tu umeshaingiza 40.
Umenipa 20 basi.
30 bwana. Sasa kwa simu bwana. Sasa unasema kwa hiyo 30 ingeza mabaya kasi.
Adam yuko wapi? Adam. Wanaenda
mambo. Bebe. Wajibebe. Sasa tumeingiza fish nuts. Nipe buku basi.
Nani?
Simelipa 500 pale na ndao kama.
Nakuwa 2000 sasa ile asubuhi. Wewe wangali paga tu mapema, yani mwe na amani ya moyo. Mpigilia demu wangu salon kama yuko pale akanitengeneza mgongo. Mambo. Hello. Shari mzima? Unasema? Poa, mbona ukiambia kusema unakuja? Umeniambia unakuja? Uko wapi kwani? Aya, nataka japo ninyoshe mgongo kidogo hivi. Choka kichizi. Nataka njoo uninyoshe mgongo, nimechoka balaa. Haya poa. Nitakuja saa 12 hivi nitakuwa niko hapo.
Kazi na dawa.
Vitu vyote vya nini? Nanyosha tu, yani nanyosha tu mabega. Sio kama nitakupa hapo hela yako nzuri ya soda. Ni soda au chakula cha au ni dina. Haya poa. Oh, mama ndio video zao kuchaje 30. Aja.
No?
You will talk something about her origin. And kampuni ya Tanzania inakusponsor inaitwa Solidarity Cards. Sijaenda chochote sina. Si ndio nilikuwa naambia habari moja wanatakiwa wakupe kitu.
Wamesema kwamba mtu ana nini marketing ndo analeta.
So think about something. We just mention. Alafu tunasema Solidarity Cards. Sijui euro ni ngapi, wanajua kwa finance waulize. Si ndio maana tutaweka. Mimi nimeambiwa wametoa. Sasa tusibishane nini na wewe? Sana. Sisi siwezi. Mimi niwezi bishana. Mimi nimepewa taarifa. Hao watu wako mpaka ulipo abstract. Nataka kuniambia kwamba tumeweka kwa the topic. Waulize usika wa finance. Unless you don't want to talk about it.
Haina.
Tuambie tu, shule inaanza vizuri, inaisha vizuri. Tumalizie vizuri na kutangaza hizo. Nafikiri nimemaliza shughuli yangu kwa leo imeisha. Are you okay, comfortable? Should I give you some water? Anything? Ukitoka hapo unatakiwa ukakae mahali upate beer. You drink beer.
Nasikia kama kuna Nikinywa maji pia.
Unywe maji ya kutosha. Simwambie should I give you water? Water is the open water bottle stuff. So how is this?
Connection ya nini? Kwenye vinywaji. Lakini ndio kuna wawili tu. Mmoja represent, mmoja ameshindwa hapo kabisa.
Oh ja, das war gucken. Das ist ja vorstellen, wie groß die Frau.
Ja, das ist jetzt gerade.
Absolut.
Wer wird das?
You are terrible, man. It's terrible. So he has one. The other one I announced. No. But they're not appearing here.
That's why there was
This document needs to be regenerated. Yes, absolutely. Company. Nein, ich weiß schon.
Ja, ich habe den einen nochmal in die Arbeit auch.
Eingeladen heute ins Termin.
Der Arbeit hat ja extra auch noch die Präsentation geschickt.
Aber die läuft im Loop, ne?
Deixa tu nas acertar. Lakini tunafika saa mbili.
Lele maisha
Das ist jetzt nochmal Plenum, ne? Aber die Technik war ja spannend, ja? Das ist jetzt ganz schwach. Aber sag mal, ist denn nicht, ihr habt ja ein großes Team dazu, das Center hier laufen zu lassen. Also die Möglichkeit etwas so bereitstellen, oder? Ja. Ja, so mal gemeinsam Testlauf machen.
Good evening. Welcome back after the very long day. We are very close to the end of the day. And now we have one more session to... Hello? One more session. We have a session for announcements and promotion of Icta-Emos sponsors. And this will be delivered by two speakers jointly. Professor Ohe will start and then Professor Sam will follow. Professor Ohe, please.
Thank you. Yeah, then it's my pleasure to introduce to you to the sponsors coming from Germany. Honestly, I'm very glad. So the sponsors which participated with a specific amount of money, being helpful for organization, being helpful for any kind of activities that might be later on being beneficial for you as an outcome of the conference. And I'm very proud that this 6 companies which were already over the last, I would say 6-7 years, very active with us when it came to organizing a conference, especially in South Africa, in Ghana, in Namibia. They already participated and gave us a good, let's say, at least a good entrance point to cover maybe some costs which normally couldn't be covered. And it's the same here. So it's my pleasure to announce the first one, which is maybe also the biggest one. This is the company Arbeit GmbH. Sorry, Arbeit AG. Let's give a look. Arbeit AG is from the main business perspective and business, let's say, what they normally do as a daily business is the SAP topic. So they give consultancy to companies which might be interested in getting in contact with SAP software. You might know that SAP is the biggest software vendor on the planet for business. Or for businesses. So it's an integrated software. They are now moving to the cloud approaches. You might know that the term SAP for HANA or S4 HANA, which is an in-memory solution, very prominent now, conquering the world. And SAP is just one of the core activities within the Arbeit company. The Arbeit company really sponsored a very nice amount for the conference, and I'm very happy. Without any question, they just say, of course we do so. This is from our major interest to sponsor the region, to sponsor this event, since we are really looking forward to the future experts in the region, which will later on networking, getting closer together. And this is where where they came into it without any discussion, and another sponsorship which they are going to take over, especially for the organizers and for my colleagues at the university. They will grant a scholarship for the 5th cohort, a complete full scholarship, right? This makes, as you can imagine, a significant amount of money. Yeah, thanks to Arbeit. I will move to the next one, which is Office. The Office Institute is a research institute located in Oldenburg. It's not just a research institute, it's one of the biggest research institutes in Lower Saxony, dealing with computer science, with applied computer science, in the 5 dimensions, in energy, in health, in production, in digitalization and society, and mobility. These are the 5 applications areas where they run very, very prominent and visible research. They have around about 300 employees, research assistants, and located once again in Oldenburg, very much associated to the university. It's a so-called associated institute, and they granted also a very nice and significant amount for the conference and, of course, for activities within the conference. So thank you very much to the Office Institute. The company World Deity is also located in Oldenburg. World Deity, they are mainly programming applications in the as front ends, especially in the field of photo finishing. So they give some services and they develop software tools, especially front ends, to our biggest European photo finisher, which is also located in Oldenburg. And the World Deity also provided a significant amount of money as sponsorship for the conference. Thanks to World Deity. The company Fast to Work, it's a combination of Oldenburg and Bremen. Fast to Work is a company, they make and program software solutions, also apps for mobility. But not just mobility, rather than bicycle. So it's bicycle mobilities, and they include in their apps, for instance, just like not just alone navigation, rather than other services which come to it when it comes to maybe take a tour. So you get additional information for a restaurant, you get additional information where you have to make a stop because of the relevance of the region. And this is a European-wide application, and they are really looking forward to extend. So there are some planned activities where also with a link to the university, which might result in a research cooperation. The Fast to Work company also sponsored a significant amount of money for the conference, thanks to Fast to Work. Then the company Company Mind. Company Mind was created around about 2 years ago from a colleague of mine. He's the CEO, and together with another colleague, and they are doing applied artificial intelligence, data intelligence, in different scenarios, also in the pig farm industry, but also in the meat industry, for instance, to detect damages by video images, and they do it quite nicely, and they are very successful right now, although they have, I would say, not more than 10 employees, but they are quite successful. And of course, without any doubt, they were one of the first who said, of course, we sponsor the conference, it's for us a pleasure. Thanks to Company Mind. Last but not least, the 6th company is the ECHO company. ECHO, similar to Office, is an associated company to the university, and they have the title being an associated institute. It's not that easy from an understanding perspective. If you talk about university institutes, of course they have, let's say, basic funding from the ministry, right, of Lower Saxony. Being an associated institute, you don't get any funding from the ministry or the university, rather than doing it by yourself, but providing, let's say, an ecosystem or a platform where students can benefit from it. And while doing so, and even if you give some lectures to different programs within different programs, and you do research with the university, you are allowed to have the title associated, in German, an Institut, associated institute with this title, being a member of the university, although the money doesn't come from the university. But very important, because with that, you can do research. You can apply for research funding as a research institute, including researchers and students. Company Mind, of course, they, as they did over the last years, they sponsored without any question, and they are happy to do so. And just for an explanation what ECHO do, they do consultancy in sustainability management. This is their main business, very successful over the last 25 years at least, I think even a bit more. Yeah, also a clap to ECHO. And yeah, these are the 6 sponsors, and once I need to name it again, the ABAT is maybe, the others are the same for very importance, but ABAT deciding or having decided to give this scholarship to the project, I mean, I think deserves a special attention, a special applause, which we should do again. Yeah, then I would hand over to Anael. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Jorge, for taking us through the list of sponsors who made this possible and also providing some scholarships to our students. Now, Professor Sam, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I hope that you had a wonderful day, even though we started a little bit late. And some of us were nervous, but we managed to do it, and it was fantastic. So the sponsors which come from the Tanzanian side, we've got Habari.Node who provided us with the internet, and their main activities are they are internet service providers. They are located here in Arusha. I think they are also responsible for the internet exchange switch for the northern zone. So related to, let's say, if you want internet services, the ones coming from the north, Habari.Node, they are here. And they are so generous. You can see what they did. You see, they just came in and they're asking for nothing. Okay. The other one, a company very well known to me, is Solidarity Cars. I've hired their cars while in Dar es Salaam. It's there in Dar es Salaam. They hire every type of cars. If you want to go for safari, for let's say you have let's say you cannot navigate on yourself in Dar es Salaam, you can use their service, and they are the best there in Dar es Salaam. Okay, so let's clap hands for the solidarity cars. And tomorrow we're gonna have a very, very heavy day. We're gonna start from morning to evening with paper presentations and also poster presentations. So what I would like to say is let's go and enjoy the evening and get prepared for tomorrow. For we're gonna have a very long day. After the papers presentation and posters, we're gonna have something very, very nice, a cocktail party where we're gonna enjoy the success of the whole conference. After saying so, I would like to wish every one of you a good evening here in Arusha. The others from Asia, good morning. The others from America, good evening, good night. Goodbye.
Asante sana. We are approaching to the very end of the day. I would like also to extend my thanks to everyone for your participation, and especially online participants who were, they had to wait for so long to get us connected. Today we had a number of speakers, keynote speakers. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for the nice presentation and eye-opening presentations. And also, as Dr. Sam, Professor, has said, tomorrow we have, as we finish up the day, is the start of a new day tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll have a long day again, just like today, but probably it will be longer than today because we have the cocktail in the evening. But the cocktail is not boring, but so we would wish even to start with the cocktail, but because it is, you know, some of us will like cocktail. Asante sana. So I wish you the very good day, and let's meet tomorrow morning. What's the time tomorrow? We are starting at 9 o'clock sharp. Okay. So we have. Do we also do registration the same way we did in the morning? Okay. So we start at 8 for registration and 9 for presentations. Organizing committees, please remain behind for just a few minutes. We have some things to fix before we, okay, we have also to plan for the new day tomorrow. Okay, the same link we used today for online participants will be active even tomorrow, so we don't change the joining link. So we will use the same link and follow. If you are you want to follow the discussion in whatever particular room, please follow such links. Asante sana. Have a good evening. I think we deserve a round of applause for having such a successful day. Asante sana. Organizing committee mtabaki, sio?